All right, so we're changing to rapid fire. Let me pull up the questions. All right, here we go. Notre Dame is currently sitting at 10th in the 2026 recruiting cycle. So to you, Trevor, who covers recruiting a little bit more closer than I do, that is blank to you.
It's a little unfair, but expected. Notre Dame's recruiting classes will always be dampened a little bit by what the national recruiting services have. I think they're building out a solid class, especially if they're able to close on some of these other wide receivers that are on the big board. Connor Salmon's up there. Kadon Finley's up there. Braden Robinson's on there. So there's a lot of really good commitments to follow up on the pipeline. But, I mean, they have some really solid players right now in this class. Tyler Merrill, who he is a top 150 kid. He's number 5 in the position in the country, 3 in the state. Thomas Davis Jr. is a 4-star. Noah Grubbs, obviously, we've been hearing a lot about. Ben Nichols is a good commitment. Sullivan Garvin's a good commitment. So a lot of those guys I think are going to rise in the rankings. But 10 right now, I mean, honestly, per usual with a Notre Dame recruiting class, I think that it's underrated, but they will continue to be because there's some commitments that, let's be honest, if they were to commit elsewhere, they'd be a little bit higher ranked of a kid.
I don't get that. I don't see how. I mean, that happens every time. I don't get it. And once they commit to Notre Dame, sometimes they fall in the rankings. And I try not to be the conspiracy theorist when it comes to this kind of stuff, but it just seems to happen all the time. And I don't get it. I just don't understand it. But I mean, being 10th means you're in the top 10. Obviously, I'd rather be there than on the outside looking in. Like you said, there's still a bunch of fish out there. So you got an opportunity to raise that, but some of those fish are going to go elsewhere. And, these other teams are going to raise theirs as well. So, we'll see what happens with Notre Dame. But I just feel like if Notre Dame can be consistently top 10 and then like every other year, top 5, I feel like they're going to be in great shape because Notre Dame, what they do a very good job of is identifying some guys that maybe other services and other schools may undervalue, but they have a higher grade and a higher, feel for those guys. And that just hurts their overall ranking because they're not a service kid, that kind of thing. Okay. I'm okay with stuff like that. You know what I mean? Now you still got to make a splash with some of these big names, but I don't think their overall grade is ever going to be, a number 1 class kind of a situation just because of the way these things happen. And I'm actually okay with that, to be honest. But, hey, the higher the rankings, the better, I guess, as well. So it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the example that I will always draw back to is Bryce Young. If Bryce Young at 6'7", 260 committed to Alabama, he'd be a consensus 5-star.
Yeah, 100%.
That's just how it goes.
100%.
Just how it goes, man.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, so from one poll or one ranking to another, saw that Notre Dame ranks 4th in tailgating experience behind Ole Miss, LSU, and Cal, of all places. So this is blank.
Hilarious. I think whoever put that poll together has never actually been in South Bend for a tailgate. If I'm being 100% honest,
right?
That's just look. I can't say anything about it because I haven't been to a Cal tailgate, so I can't say that one of them is significantly better. But I've been to some pretty heavy hitting campuses on a game day, and it doesn't touch Notre Dame's tailgating experience. Doesn't. And when I'm talking about games, I went to Clemson, Louisville in 2018. In Death Valley, Clemson's version of Death Valley.
Okay.
And I've been to the Ohio State Notre Dame game in 2022.
Yeah.
And it was just doesn't compare. I mean, Notre Dame cars line up at 7 a.m. to get into the parking lot to set up and bring enough stuff for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on the time of kickoff. Look,
go ahead.
The one that I can see because of some of the stories that I've heard is LSU's. As much as that kind of pains me to say,
I know,
because I've heard some stories that like Joe Burrow has told on podcasts. Justin Jefferson just talked about it on the Pat McAfee show. He's like, I mean, RVs line up on Wednesday to get and camp out at the school. Like that is crazy.
That's nuts.
That would be, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. I've heard good things about Ole Miss. I've obviously never been down there. I've heard their tailgating scene is pretty great. I don't know anything about Cal. The fact that they came in third is nuts to me. But I will give you the top 25. Now, there are some on here that don't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I'll explain why when we get there. But number 5 is Texas A&M. Number 6 is Texas. Number 7 is Penn State. Number 8 is Michigan. And I have been to Michigan. They tailgate pretty good. Like they are an expansive, like all over campus tailgate situation. Theirs was pretty decent when I was up there. I will say that. University of Washington is 9. Tennessee is 10. The South Carolina Gamecocks come in at 11. Iowa at 12. Wisconsin at 13. Clemson at 14. Alabama 15. Whoa. West Virginia 16. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You've got Georgia, Florida. Like the Georgia-Florida game comes in at 17. I don't understand how a game can come in here. But there's a few of these, right? You've got Georgia-Florida at 17. You've got the Red River rivalry at 18. So Texas is on here twice, which I don't know about that one. I don't think you can just have a game. Whatever. San Diego State, 19. Auburn at 20. And then rounding out the top 25, Nebraska, Oregon, Ohio State, Southern Cal. And then the last one is Yale, Harvard. So another like rivalry game. So thoughts on the whole thing?
Okay, on the whole thing. Look, here's my thing. Okay. One, the Irish breakdown tailgate alone is better than 7 of those tailgates that you listed off. I'm going to say that right now.
Not wrong.
1. 2, if you're going to pick individual games, I'm shocked that you didn't put the tailgate for Michigan and Ohio State.
Right.
For the game. I'm amazed that they didn't put the Iron Bowl tailgate on there. That's wild. Yeah. I mean, again, some of it I haven't been around. I'm going to be honest.
We haven't been all over the country just to tailgate. Yeah, although if they need somebody on that committee for next year's thing, I'm more than welcome, more than happy to volunteer. That would be great. I will do that.
Oh, I know. I could tie it into work too. I'd provide some great content, a lot of articles for the board. Oh yeah. I'm gonna start putting together my pitch for Brian now.
Yeah. IB tailgate rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We can get an RV and we'll just travel around the country tailgating all fall. Let's go.
And we'll link it up with where some of the top recruits on Notre Dame's big board are also taking visits at.
Let's roll. Let's roll.
Okay, to know what Notre Dame's up against.
It's done. As the self-proclaimed vice president of Irish Breakdown, I'm going to take it to the board meeting here.
All right. All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Next question. The ACC Women's Conference Championship begins today. All right. Notre Dame is seeded number 2. They don't play till Friday at 5:00. Scale of 1 to 10, the chances of the Fighting Irish winning the ACC championship.
10, obviously being the most confident that they win.
Yes, sir.
I'll put them right now at an 8.5, 9, if I'm being honest. I still think that they're the best team in the ACC. They overcame back-to-back losses in a really convincing win over who they played, Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I've always said this. I've said this about men's. I have said this about women's. When you have a really talented backcourt, that does wonders for you in tournament play, whether that's conference tournaments, whether that's the big dance. And I think Notre Dame has the best backcourt in all of women's basketball right now with Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo. And so that for me,
and you throw in Sony Citron as well, who's also a guard. That's a heck of a 1-2-3 punch at guard for sure.
Yep. So yeah, mine's about 8.5, 9. What say you?
Yeah, I'm right about there. I'm like 9, I think was what I wanted to say, because I don't want to be absolute and say, it's a 10, they're going to win it, no problem. Because in the 2 games that they lost, they kind of forgot how to play defense. And I don't think that's going to be the case again. I also don't think Hannah Hidalgo is going to be as cold of a shooter as she was in those 2 losses either. So for the perfect storm of them losing again, I don't see that happening. I think they got their wake-up call. They, and because of it, they didn't get the outright regular season championship. They had to share it with NC State. And so I just, I don't think that they're going to have that issue moving forward. I don't think they're going to forget how to play defense. I don't think they're going to let teams take them off the dribble. They're not going to forget how to play help side defense. All of those different things that plagued them against Florida State and that, plagued them against NC State. Like, I just don't see that being the case. And so I'm fairly confident not only are they a better roster and a better team than anybody in the ACC, they are going to prove their depth, and that other stuff was a one-off. I think they're going to be just fine. So
yeah.
Go Irish Nate says the only thing the Irish ladies should be doing is layup lines. They've missed some easy little bunnies. There's no doubt about that. Don't want to miss those bunnies. That's for sure. And as long as they play defense, they're going to be fine. And because I agree with you, guard play takes over in the tournament. This is the first tournament of the tournament. You know what I mean? And if they also have something on the line, not just the ACC tournament championship, but if they win the tournament championship, I think they're back on the 1 line again. So they've got something to play for here. Right now, they're solidly on the 2 line no matter what happens. If they win, I think they got a shot at being a number 1. And that's something to play for right there. So they've got that carrot, and I think they're going to take it, and they're going to make some people wish they're not playing the Irish over the next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So hopefully we're right.
Yeah. In order for Notre Dame to drop back-to-back those 2 games back-to-back, Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo combined to go 24 of 74 from the floor.
Exactly.
I don't see that happening again, if I'm just being honest.
Right. It's just like a convergence of storms. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
neither one of them were really on fire shooting. The defense wasn't great. Like, I just don't see that all happening again in the game, And if it does, they're going to lose. Like, that's kind of where we're at. And you hope that's obviously not the case, moving forward.
Yep.
So Notre Dame recently officially announced that the opener at Miami will be a 7:30 p.m. start on Sunday of that first weekend. So Sunday night, Notre Dame football. Do you buy or sell the night game to open the season?
I definitely buy it. I love night games, especially if you have a bye week following, because there's a good chance that Texas A&M home game will also be a night game. I'm going to be a little disappointed if that's a 2:30 or a 3:30 kickoff.
Sure, I get that. Yeah.
But especially with a bye week following, I buy it. I don't know what other games are going on that Sunday. I don't think very many, if others at all.
On Sunday, they probably got the thing to themselves, I'm guessing.
Most likely, yeah. On the opening Sunday, Notre Dame.
See if you can find. You're probably finding faster than me.
It's South Carolina plays at Virginia Tech that day as well, but it's a neutral site game in Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. I would be shocked if that took the night slot over Notre Dame at Miami.
Right. Yeah. That's not gonna garner the viewers that the Notre Dame Miami game is gonna garner. So that's gonna be an afternoon game. Notre Dame Miami is gonna be the night game, because I don't think they're also going to want any kind of competition for those games either. You know what I mean? It's gonna be the only thing going on, because when does the NFL start? Does it start this week, or does it start the week after? Do you know off the top of your head?
They might have preseason games, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily really worry about that. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about the NFL regular season? No,
yeah,
it's always a week after
September, right? Okay.
Yeah, week 1 in the NFL starts Thursday, September 5th.
Okay, so there you go. So that's a weekend where Notre Dame's not even playing. So yeah, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape there. You're going to want that to be the marquee game, Notre Dame Miami. And then obviously I believe there's a Monday night game as well. They kind of spread out the games that weekend, which I think is actually pretty smart. So you got TCU, North Carolina. So of course the Bill Belichick hype train will be in full force on Labor Day Monday at 7:30. So, yeah, I think that's. What do you think about the whole Bill Belichick hype train? By the way, what do you think of this whole thing?
I honestly think he would have been a better fit to be hired as a GM than he would have been as a head coach at the college level, if I'm being honest. Because the way that college football is trending is you're going to need somebody in that position to know how to handle cap space and somebody how to handle roster maintenance and how to handle roster management, all those different things. And that's right in Bill Belichick's wheelhouse. What is not in his wheelhouse, I have to imagine, is recruiting and building relationships and buying into the development of young people, something that is very important at the college level.
Right.
I don't see that from our boy, old Bill. I don't, especially not at this point in his career, because even older college coaches get to the point where it's just like, I don't want to keep up on this grind because it is a year-round thing. And so, if you have a player struggling to, get playing time on the field and they come into your office like a lot of college kids will do, hey, coach, what do I need to do to get more playing time? I don't really think Bill Belichick sitting back in his brown leather chair, I'm assuming that's just what it is because that kind of seems on brand, of him sitting back and saying, just be better, will you? Like, I don't really think that really is going to do much. So
he's going to have people for that. Go talk to your position coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be. I just don't see this being a success. I just don't. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, but they are pouring a lot of money into this experiment. $1.5 million for the GM and all of these different things. Like you're pouring a lot of money into this experiment. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't think he's got the whatever it is. I don't think he's got it for college, but. We'll see what happens. So the Las Vegas Raiders, we talked about them a little bit earlier today when we were talking tight ends. Let's go to the other side of the ball. They've made Maxx Crosby from Eastern Michigan the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history today. He signed a 3-year, $106.5 million extension with $91.5 million guaranteed. So the million that he donated to Eastern Michigan to renovate their field is chump change, basically. That whole thing is blank. The fact that Maxx Crosby is the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history is blank.
Yeah, the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history is pretty crazy. He was definitely warranted an extension because he has been on a tear. The highest non-paid quarterback is wild. I would have heard out the highest paid defensive lineman. Not that I think he's like the best in NFL history, but that's just the way that contracts have been trending.
Sure.
I think it's crazy that he's getting that extension and Jamar Chase still hasn't finalized the deal yet. I think that's pretty crazy, especially after winning the Triple Crown. I think it's oh gosh, I'm trying to think of a good blank word for this. Yeah, I'll just say that's crazy.
I think it's nuts. I'm right there with you. Of all the people that might be breaking that record for highest paid NFL player that's not a quarterback, I don't know that Maxx Crosby would have been high on my list. I mean, I know he's a good player. I know he's a really good player. I don't see enough Raider games to be, crazy impressed because they never make the playoffs and they're not a very good football team. Right. And so I don't know. It just kind of surprised. He seems like a great guy, active in his community and like obviously gives back to his alma mater, all of these things. Seems like a great guy. He's a really good football player. I'm just good for you, man. Like, I don't know who your agent is, but he just did a bang up job making you the highest paid player in NFL history. I am shocked by that. It's nuts. But good for him. I just feel like there are a lot of other players that could have gone to, not named Maxx with 2 X's. Like, I'm just shocked by that whole situation.
Yeah. $35.5 million a year for a defensive end on the Raiders is pretty wild.
That's nuts. Like, he's not like, look, he's an important piece to your franchise. Last time I checked, and I don't know that this is accurate. So if it's not, then, I'm sorry. I don't think they have a quarterback under contract right now.
I think you're right.
Like that, I feel like that should be a priority right now. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Yeah.
But hey,
yeah.
more
The
power
Raiders
to
are
them,
kind of
man.
like the Raiders are kind of like that friend that you had back in college that like was struggling to pay house rent but was going to Florida. And it's kind of
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I want to look up their depth chart to see if they have a quarterback on their depth chart right now. I don't know. Let's see. Well, they got Gardner Minshew as the starter right now. I feel like that was at the end of last year. Like, I don't feel like that's accurate for right now. But anyway, whatever. They got quarterback issues. Apparently, they no longer have defensive end issues. So, you know.
At least on one of the defensive end spots.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good job, Max. All right. So the IU men's basketball has jumped on the whole black uniform bandwagon, wearing all black uniforms against Oregon last night on the road. And then they proceeded to lose the game 73-64 while they're firmly on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. So do you buy or sell the Hoosiers going all black with their uniforms?
I buy the fact that they need to get somebody else besides Adidas to sponsor their uniforms because the all black unis were not the first thing that they meant. I don't know if it was against Wisconsin, but earlier this year they had jerseys that legitimately looked like practice jerseys that were
Really
in-game uniform. It was bad. It was weird. Like the number was just like small and like off to the side.
like a baseball uniform?
Yeah, like it was wild. Yeah, I don't know what all that's about. So I'm definitely selling the all black unis. It is what it is. I know that's a popular trend. I think if done right, it can look pretty sweet.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
Yeah,
I'm just not a fan of the if it's not one of your colors, why are you wearing it kind of a thing. Like that's where I'm at with the black uniforms. You're right. Some of them can look good. Like I'm definitely a sell on like Notre Dame wearing black uniforms. That's not what I want to see. Black is not a uniform color for Notre Dame. And I know basketball has done it. I don't like it. That's me. I'm the old man, get off your lawn guy. And I hate IU basketball. Like I have come out and I've said it. I hate IU basketball, but they have one of the most iconic uniforms in men's college basketball. Why are you messing with it? Why are you messing with it? Okay. Like the crimson on the road, the white at home, like that's college basketball in a nutshell. They haven't changed that much from their early days of, playing in the 70s with Bobby Knight and the whole deal to now. Why are you messing with it, man? Like, let it go. Be who you are and embrace it. I don't understand why they felt like, well, we're going to Oregon. They have 17 different uniform choices. Let's go all black. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Not for me. It's a huge sell. Huge sell for me. Huge sell.
Yeah. It's not going to make them play better. I'll tell you that.
I mean, you're on, I don't know, man. You're on the bubble of making the tournament. You want your coach fired. You go out to Oregon and you just lay an egg. Like it was just not a great game for them.
Yeah.
All right. Final one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I was just kind of talking out loud. Yeah. You're good.
No, you're good, man. That's what we do. All right. Final question of the night. ESPN has officially canceled the show Around the Horn after a 23-year run. First of all, I can't believe that show's been on for 23 years. So I'll just say that first. Its final episode will air on May 23rd. So scale of 1 to 10, your care level with the fact that Around the Horn is being canceled.
Full transparency, a 1 because I had to Google what Around the Horn was.
Oh, you didn't know? Oh.
I knew that it was a show on ESPN. Here's why I say
that.
Is because there are now so many shows that are like that. It's so hard for me to keep up with. First Take, Around the Horn, Good Morning Football. There's a new show like that popping up every single. Yeah. So yeah, my care level's a 1 just because it's like for sports stuff. Like I get all of my information from like podcasts. like stuff that I can throw in AirPods and listen to. Like, I can't tell you the last time I sat down on outside of College Game Day. I can't tell you the last time I sat down and watched like a news show like that on ESPN.
Yeah.
But that's me personally.
No, that's fair. It's just it's definitely played its course. Like, it was, a good show 23 years ago when it started. You had the guy giving points, and you had guys arguing with each other, and it was a novel concept back then. It's run its course. Like, it's not a thing anymore. It's not exciting. It's not like the news is, with the news cycle, the way things go nowadays, like, by the time they're talking about it, it's old news, and it's not that exciting, to be perfectly honest with you. And I feel like some of the guys, some of the talking heads, as you say, because you're not wrong, the ones that are on there, like, their shtick gets old. Like, like, I don't know, their shtick gets old. Like, I haven't watched that show in years. I just figured it was a staple, and it was just going to be around for a while, because what's the one with Wilbon and Kornheiser?
Oh gosh.
What is that one called? I know people still love that show, and it's still on, and that was kind of like, that's a half hour, and then they would go into Around the Horn, after that. Like, that was the hour, right? Like, it was half hour, pardon the interruption. Thank you, DK. Pardon the interruption. That one's kind of getting old too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. ESPN just needs to do a better job. They need to think outside the box a little bit more, but what can I say? So yeah, for me, it's like a 1 as well. If I hadn't seen it announced today, I wouldn't have missed it when it goes away. So it's a 1. It's pretty low. So that's going to do it for Rapid Fire. Trevor, I appreciate you pulling double duty today, because God knows I couldn't have done this by myself. So I appreciate you being here, my friend. Definitely tune in tomorrow. You got a show tomorrow at 1:00, right?
Yep.
Plug it.
Yeah, we will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. We are going to continue talking about Notre Dame's offseason with spring right around the corner. There's a lot of topics that we have to get to. Tomorrow, I believe, is going to be more of a big picture college football show. And then Friday, of course, we're going to have the Friday free-for-all mailbag. So, Salty, bring your mail bombing questions in. Sean Davis and I will be ready to rock and roll Friday at 1. But in order to be in the loop, you got to make sure that subscribe button is hit so you know when we go live.
Boom. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell, folks. Share with your family and friends. Jump on the boards at irishbreakdown.com. Still a lot of good stuff. I mean, there's still news being pumped in from the Bahamas. So you definitely want to jump on the boards. It never sleeps. And so there's always some good conversation going on over there. So make sure you hit it. We'd really appreciate that. And then, of course, check out irishbreakdown.com. All kinds of good articles out there. I feel like that's all Trevor does is write articles. I'm constantly retweeting his articles that he's putting out. All good stuff. All kinds of previews for next season. All kinds of good stuff previewing spring. So make sure you check all that stuff out as well. So get on the boards, get on the website, hit that notification bell, hit that like button, just do it all. We'd really appreciate it. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us for this edition of the Irish Breakdown podcast. And we'll talk to you. I won't, but Jesse and Sean will talk to you tomorrow. Sean will be on site at the ACC women's tournament. And then Jesse will be, phoning in from God knows where. So the two of them will be on tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens on Friday. So for Trevor, I'm Vince. We will talk to you next time on the Irish Breakdown podcast. Have a great Wednesday night, everybody.